And you came in with the back spasms, like you rolled your ankle at some point during the game. How you
Yeah,
feeling just coming out of it?
I'm fine. Back still my back just tightened up, but I'll be alright. So guys get a chance to play, but that's not usually in the rotation. So just trying to grind out as much as we can, compete, play hard. So yeah. I think we just it's like something similar last year coming in. So just take advantage of all these minutes. Just play as hard as I can.
It's true, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonades. And that's exactly what the New Orleans Pelicans are hoping to do with Jawkins this season. You see, this season hasn't gotten off to the most spectacular of starts for the New Orleans boys, even by their standards. And it all boils down to the fact that they can't seem to catch a break with injuries. I mean, it's just over a month into the regular season, and they already have 6 players out on the treatment table. But then, in the midst of what's proving to be a cursed season, one man has shown to be Mr. Reliable, and his name is Jordan Jawkins. The problem, however, is that Jawkins is not the kind of player you look to build a team around. Never has been, and that's because he's hardly ever as effective as you'd want him to be. So who is Jordan Jawkins? Just how much can the Pelicans rely on him this season? And more importantly, how did the Pelicans get here in the first place? Well, hello and welcome back to your one-stop junction for the jumps, the dunks, and everything basketball. Today, we'll be taking a trip into the Pelicans locker room to see how a 22-year-old sophomore has risen to become their most reliable player. Oh, and you definitely want to stick around to see the Pelicans' master plan to turn their season around. But first, kindly take a second to leave a like and subscribe to this channel to help us grow. This will make a huge difference to us, and in doing so, we can continue creating more new and exciting content for you guys. Now, what's really going on with the New Orleans-based side? Well, it's no secret that the Pelicans are an absolute wreck right now, and you just gotta feel for them what's going on right now. Firstly, there's no sugarcoating the fact that the Pelicans do not boast the most star-studded roster, not a championship-winning squad, and hardly even a playoff-guaranteed squad. Of course, they did manage a playoff place via the play-ins last season, but that was with the complement of their full squad. Coming into the season though, they might have dreamed of consolidating on their 49-33 record last season, and perhaps push for another playoff berth. But it's as if their season is already ending before it even begins, as the team is currently second to last in the Western Conference after falling short in 7 of their first 10 games. But then again, the poor start may not be anybody's fault in particular. It could just be their dumb luck, or the Pelicans' curse, as some are choosing to call it. You see, before the season rolled in, the New Orleans team clearly had their top 6 players sorted out, rotation included. However, it's been back to the drawing board right from day one, as 5 of these players already combined to miss a ridiculous 26 games in the first 3 weeks of action. It's catastrophic to say the least, and you'd struggle to keep up with all the injuries plaguing these players at the moment. Trey Murphy was the first to tap out, and he came early as he strained his hamstring in training camp. DeJounte Murray shortly followed after fracturing his hand on opening night, before Herb Jones and CJ McCollum both joined the growing list on Game 4. Zion Williamson would also miss a handful of games after being diagnosed with a hamstring injury, leaving small forward Brandon Ingram as the lone survivor from the pack. Now, Pelicans head coach Willie Green has no choice but to improvise, and he's turned to this man Jawkins for a quick patch. The question, however, is how reliable the 22-year-old be in the void he's been introduced to fill. Well, he has been reliable, alright, but to see how effective he's really been, we'll have to take a good look at what his profile and stats have to say. So, who is Jordan Jawkins? Born on the 29th of April 2002, Jordan Doral Jawkins has always been a shooting guard who rose to popularity in his college days with the UConn Huskies. His freshman year saw him manage a 5.4-point average as a rotational player before ultimately missing the NCAA tournament due to a concussion. Nevertheless, the fact that he still managed to make it into the Big East All-Freshman team told a story of his incredible ability. These abilities will only become more highlighted in his sophomore year. Jawkins was promoted to a regular starter role in his second season, and that was when he first showed how reliable he can be when given the chance. The youngster was absolutely rampant, recording 26.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists to secure a place in the All-Big East first team. He still missed a couple of games due to another concussion, but this time he was back in the nick of time to participate in the NCAA tournament, and the UConn Huskies could only count themselves lucky that he was. The informed youngster would lead them to a triumphant finish in the tournament, recording an impressive 22 points and 4 rebounds per game and running away with a Most Outstanding Player award. As expected, he would then forfeit the remaining years of his college eligibility and declare for the 2023 NBA drafts, where he was a first-round pick for the New Orleans Pelicans. Well, Hawkins' first season with the Pelicans was a relative success, as he was part of the squad that pushed for that playoff finish. However, his lack of minutes were evident in his stats, as the youngster only managed 17 minutes per game as a minor rotational player. Of course, no one expected him to be a starter for the Pelicans, at least not as a rookie, but then there's no forgetting that November frenzy when he took the place of injured McCollum and managed an impressive 14.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game in 16 appearances. There's also no forgetting his jaw-dropping performance against the Mavericks back in January, where he racked up a season-high 34 points. He was absolutely on fire in that game, going 11 of 19 from the field and converting 6 of his 12 three-point attempts. He also added 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals for good measure to make it one of the top single-game performances by any rookie last season. That was his best performance indeed, but it hasn't been his only top performance by any means. The youngster has also recorded 31 points against the Nuggets, while also putting up 4 other 25-plus point games to show that he can truly be effective when called upon. Overall, Hawkins managed 7.8 points and 2.2 rebounds per game in what was a roller coaster of highs and lows last season. This season, however, the youngster has been given the nod from the onset, no thanks to Pelicans' injury crises. Heck, in a team of many uncertainties, Hawkins has been one of the most reliable outlets, racking up as many minutes as anyone in a team, except for the seemingly unshakable Ingram. However, contrary to what head coach Willie Green would have hoped for, Hawkins has not been very effective, and it's costing the Pelicans direly, especially in defense. Well, in his defense, he's barely rim protector material at 6'5". And of the 20 players with the most rim shot blocks this season, Hawkins is by far the smallest. Now, when you take that and the fact that he's not got a superior wingspan into account, you would see why he's being bypassed almost as if he's not even there. I mean, he's failed to alter over 78% of the short-range shots attempted by opponents, and that's just plain underwhelming from a defensive point of view. It's also been one of the reasons why the Pelicans find themselves so deep in the current standings. But don't get it twisted, folks, because while Hawkins may have been ineffective as a rim protector, he has still been one of the top performers in this depleted team, especially on the attack. I mean, if you think the Pelicans are having a bad season defensively, you'd be absolutely stunned to see their attacking record, where Hawkins is proving to be one of the only positives. You see, despite his heavy loads of threes rising to the tone of 38% from 6.9 attempts per game, the team still ranks 25th in three-point attempts and only 22nd in general attacking rating. Oh, and this just goes to show that while he may not be as effective in the general scheme, Hawkins is still by far one of the best performers in the New Orleans-based team, and that's just about how messy it has been for the Pelicans. Of course, there may still be hope for a turnaround in their season if they can return to full strength early enough, but the signs do not look encouraging enough, as even the reliable Hawkins has been made to miss the last couple of games due to a back soreness that has kept him sidelined. It just keeps going from bad to worse for the Pelicans, and it's left to be seen just how much they can salvage their season, if at all they can. In the meantime though, do let us know what you think of Jordan Hawkins' role in the Pelicans team and just how important he has been for them. Do you reckon he'd be a starter if the likes of Murphy and McCollum were available? Feel free to tell us your opinion in the comments below. And don't forget to smash that subscribe icon for more exciting videos about your favorite NBA stars.